All right, good Tuesday evening, everybody. I'm 10 Tampa Bay Chief Meteorologist Bobby Deskes.
And I'm 10 Tampa Bay Meteorologist Colleen Campbell.
And this is Weather Impact Live, and we are, of course, going to talk tropics. But we kind of have a lot to talk about today. Not tropical. Maybe we could do that. We could talk about why it's not tropical, or kind of tropical for the low that's going to develop off the East Coast today. Or I should say really Friday into the weekend. But first, let's start with the pure tropical stuff.
The bare bones.
The bare bones, obviously tropical storm
Jerry.
Right here, okay? I know it's kind of tough to see out there. There she is.
Hey.
That's Colleen. And then we're actually watching this little area over here too. Not a concern, only 10%. And in fact, it's almost all moving into Mexico already. Yeah. We'll show you that too. In fact, you know what? Let's start with that. This is just the regular satellite and radar. And you can see some of the rain on the north side moving into Mexico there. Brownsville's right up there at the top of the screen here. So most of the rain's even south of there, and obviously you can see all the convection's right in here. So this should continue to drift off towards the west, be a rainmaker there in Mexico, and should not develop. Now, Tropical Storm Jerry, 60-mile-per-hour winds, 1,000 millibars is the pressure, and Colleen, this is getting a little bit stronger. Still moving quickly, west-northwest at 23 miles per hour, and now clearly you can see the island chain here that is in the area. So we do have some watches and warnings now. Basically, tropical storm watches for that northeastern part of the island chain here, right in here, including Anguilla, St. Martin, St. Bart's, those areas. But you can see the system actually looks a little bit sheared, to be honest with you. I mean, look at the low-level flow that you can see out ahead of it, but all the tall convection is to the east.
Yeah.
So that shows you that it has some wind shear coming in from the north and the west there out ahead of this. So we'll see. But now the forecast track here, this is 5 o'clock. So we just got this data in. Well, that is the advisory. Sweet. We just got it. And you can see here in the yellow, those are the islands that have the tropical storm watch. Now, if this holds, the center stays offshore. Okay. And the winds would be about 70 miles per hour as it's coming by here. But that would be around the center and basically what would essentially end up being in this cone here. So they would get some wind, but do they get sustained winds of 40 miles per hour or higher? Especially on the backside, I mean, you would have a better chance of getting that on the east side, but not as much on the west side.
Yeah.
So you can see that we are looking at the track moving off and to the north. Once we move through Friday, in fact, during Friday, really it's pulling off to the north. Friday afternoon, hurricane. So we do have this forecast to become a hurricane, but the previous forecast, Colleen, we're calling for Cat 2. They're not calling that anymore.
Yeah. I saw on some of the models, it looks like it was encountering a little bit of dust. We were talking about the shear that it's encountering right now. But as it moves northward, some of that dust may fade away as well. But it's so interesting, Bobby, how every system basically we've had so far this season keeps taking that curve. I mean, we don't hate to see it.
Yeah.
But it's ironic. I can't think of another hurricane season where they all take this track. I mean, some may be a little bit more to the west, some to the east, but yeah, it's amazing.
Well, you know, it's been the troughiness, we call it, up in the eastern United States. And so when you have those troughs, that tends to pull cold fronts towards the coast, and that sets up a pattern where you can pick these things up. Let's go and let me show you the water vapor here. That'll give you a better picture. See, you can clearly see it. See it coming up here, coming back down, and then back up. All right? This area in here is called the trough. All right? That's the ridge of high pressure underneath it. This is a trough of low pressure. That takes anything that's here and basically picks it up and takes it out.
Yep.
Okay, and you can see all this extending here. That's a cold front. And that's actually what these troughs tend to pull through. And so when you get a front down here towards the Carolinas, anything coming in that direction is going to turn and come back up. This trough has been more situated back in here a little bit, but for, since most of September.
Yeah.
And through now, it's been sitting in that area. So that's one of the reasons why we've been somewhat protected with a lot of these storms recurving. Forecast models agree that they think this is going to recurve as well. And you can see the question is, how close does it get to those islands?
Right.
And now, I mean, obviously it's closer out in time, but pretty good agreement in this area right in here, which keeps it right off of the islands. And that's where these lines are, each one of those lines is a model, and it's where it thinks the center of the storm goes. Okay, and so the highest winds will be right around that center, and so you can see most of those will stay offshore of the Leeward Islands. Now, Bermuda's looking even better, and this trend is getting better and better for that's Bermuda right there, and then you can see where the trend is here. So this yesterday had some runs that were closer to Bermuda than what we're seeing right now, and in fact, they were kind of spread out yesterday, but this is pretty tight here.
Yeah. Yeah, I noticed the latest models have been pushing it a little bit more eastward and away from Bermuda. So that's a good sign for Bermuda. I think they I think they deserve a break. They've kind of been sitting on the edge of their seat, for several systems now. So,
if it were to get closer to the Leeward Islands, then it would also get closer to Bermuda, just because that turn would happen.
Yeah.
But so that's a good news for everybody. Now, let's turn our attention back here at home, okay? We've got a low pressure system developing east of Florida. And it's going to get a little bit interesting because the warm air there, warm water, warm atmosphere, so it would be a warm chord low, or is it? Because watch what happens. You see that low there? It is. It kind of is a warm chord low. So this you would think would be tropical, and that's the reason why we even bring this up. But what happens is there's some cooler, in fact, let me back up. See the frontal boundary? That frontal boundary made it all the way down to Georgia. So there's cooler, drier air in here. There's a big ridge of high pressure here. Cool, nice fall air, okay? On the other side of that front, you have warm, moist air from the summertime, all right? So this is basically what's called adiabatic processes, which means really the cooler air is getting underneath the warm, moist air, making it rise, and that's creating this low pressure. Maybe not initially down here.
Right.
All right, but as it moves to the north, that is certainly what's going to happen. So this is kind of what we would maybe call a hybrid system, where it starts out subtropical, or tropical, I should say, and then kind of turns subtropical, because the dry air that's sitting in here gets pulled back in underneath, warm, moist air going that way. Okay, either way, doesn't matter to us, because it's going to be a low pressure, there's going to be wind coming around it, and what will happen is on the back side of this will come the dry and the cooler air. And that's what's happening, especially, this is 4 o'clock on Sunday, you can see the time up here, Saturday, excuse me, especially Saturday into Saturday night, you're really gonna feel the humidity drop. Now watch as this moves up through the Carolinas. In fact,
that's where it could be a problem.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a problem. This is Saturday afternoon in the Carolinas. You got, I'm from that area, Mullet Fest, right there in Swansboro, North Carolina, right there on the coast. That is not a good day for Saturday. Saturday is the main day. They had the parade, all this kind of stuff. But then Sunday, there's still rain there in eastern North Carolina. But look what it does. It moves all the way up to New York, Martha's Vineyard.
Yeah.
And where you see these white lines close together, that's where you get a lot of the wind. You see these wind arrows coming in here, right? So they're not highest right around the center here, like you would see. See right here, you got highest winds right around the center. That's a tropical system. That's Jerry. Here you got winds way out and mainly to the north that are highest, all right, not wrapped around the immediate center. So that tells you it's subtropical. So does this get a name? And by the way, the next name on the list is Karen. And ironically, this is going to move through on a weekend, stall, and then slowly drift back down to the south and the southeast, like just kind of being a Karen almost.
Yeah.
Like it's going to affect the weather for some time. That's all the way through Wednesday.
Yeah. Yeah, it will be, and Bobby and I were just talking about this ahead of the show. It will be very interesting to see if it either is tagged as a tropical system in the beginning, but then once it does move into that cooler air, does it become a nor'easter? Does it classify as that? And people often have these questions. What's the difference between a nor'easter or a tropical cyclone? And it's all about the core, what's the temperature basically in the center of that system? Is it cooler? Is it warmer? But as Bobby was saying not too long ago, this is starting off in that warmer Gulf Stream close to the Bahamas. So it could be tropical. It has, the opportunity, but it's kind of a lower opportunity. But then as it moves up the coast and it grabs some of that cooler, drier air and wraps into it, that's when it could classify as a nor'easter. So either way, it's going to bring wind and extra rain to places that are pretty vulnerable right now.
Yeah, and they'll get northeast winds.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, you live there, you don't care. You just need to know what the weather's going to be, right? If it's
Right.
going to be windy with northeast winds and rain and coastal flooding, storm surge potentially in some areas. That's the thing. So why, when you look at this map and you see this area hatched right here,
Yes.
but you don't see anything hatched right here, that's what Colleen's talking about.
Right.
And that's because technically it's not going to be pure tropical.
Yeah.
All right. That does not mean you're probably going to get more weather here from North Carolina through New Jersey than they're going to get in Mexico out of that.
Right.
All right. So that's just a technicality there. All right. Look, it's going to affect us, right? I think most of us here in Tampa Bay are going to appreciate the way that it does. So let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk about a fall weather weekend.
I was driving when an 18-wheeler turned in front of me. I locked up my brakes, bam, slid dead into the truck. Bloody and hurt, I was loaded into an ambulance, and that's when I put out my phone and called attorney Dan Newton. Dan jumped right on it. He was in my corner the whole way. He fought the fight from beginning to end and got me $1 million.
Involved in a car accident? Call me now at 813-888-8000.
Dan, your awesome team deserves 6 stars. Thank you for winning my case.
Weather impacts your life every day. I'm 10 Tampa Bay Chief Meteorologist Bobby Deskins. You can find out about any change in the weather with our 10 Tampa Bay Plus app. Just stream for the latest forecast, any weather impact alert, updated tropics forecast, and take a live look at the radar. Anytime you want, and it's free. It's just one more way we're helping you stay informed, prepared, and connected. Stream 10 Tampa Bay Plus.
And it's like a movie script. It's family rivalry, betrayal, and murder.
They cover America's most fascinating true crime stories.
One way or another, that's an execution.
Absolutely.
Every case,
Who would want to hurt him?
every clue,
This is dynamite for an investigator.
every mystery that keeps you guessing until the very end.
Does everyone's jaws drop?
Dateline, 5 times a week.
Watch weekdays at 4 on 10 Tampa Bay.
Windows are created and installed with different levels of quality. Unique quality that can withstand the tropical climate. Our installers only install PGT custom windows and doors, so we are the go-to experts. Don't take my word for it. We have been named Best of Tampa Bay 3 years in a row, Reader's Choice in Sarasota 3 years in a row, and nationally recognized as Window and Door Dealer of the Year. Price is what you pay, but value is what you get. Give WeatherTight Windows a call today, and don't forget the cookies.
All right, welcome back. Let's talk, Colleen, a little bit about the wind associated with this low developing off of Florida and really for the mid-Atlantic coastline. So you can kind of see both of these here. First of all, there's a high pressure ridge falling. Watch this. Let me go out here just a little bit. Look at the northeast. Beautiful weather. See that? There's a big ridge of high pressure sitting there, right in here. The difference between that high and the lower pressures down here is causing this wind in between.
Yeah.
All right, so they're already seeing a northeasterly wind just from this high pressure here in the low to the south, but it's very weak. Now watch as we go through Thursday night, Friday, and into Saturday morning. Now we have the low, all right? But look at the pressure difference between the high to the north, the low to the south, and in between you get this pressure gradient is what we call it. All those white lines, the closer they are together, the more wind you're going to get, okay? And so that's starting with this. Now, at the same time, let me show you this. Look what's happening with this low. Look at the wind. See where the center is right there? See all the high winds wrapped around the center?
Yeah.
And then as you go out, you get less and less wind. Look at our low here. That's the center. All right?
Yep.
Barely any wind. And look where the wind is. It's out on the outside. It's out well off to the north. This is tropical. This is non-tropical. Right? It may have a little bit of warm core in there, but this is forming differently, and that's the reason why this probably doesn't get a name, okay? Now, watch as we go through Sunday. This is midday Sunday. Now, heavy winds. Look up there.
Yeah, to the north.
Yeah, that's in the 40s. The Jersey Shore, Ocean City, Maryland, Chincoteague, New York even. You know, sustained winds at the beaches near 40 mile per hour is possible. I think that's probably a little high, but we're certainly going to see gusts in the 50s for some of these spots. And this is straight on shore. So that is really pushing the water levels up. Plus we've had king tides because we've had a full moon at perigee, which means it's a supermoon. Perigee means the moon's closest to the earth in its orbit at that time. So that pushes and pulls the water, right? Puts more water. So this is a bad timing. Plus, we've had all the erosion along the Outer Banks, and the Outer Banks we deal with. In fact, let's go ahead and take a look at this real fast before we get ahead of ourselves, because they've had more houses fall there in that Buxton area.
Crews are hard at work cleaning up the 8 homes that collapsed here last week. But as the cleanup process is going on, more worries about the end of this week, where more houses could potentially collapse.
We'll get through this, but Buxton's about to look a lot different. It already does.
It's hard. It's hard to watch, and it's hard to see.
The heartbreak is evident in voices throughout the Outer Banks community. After 8 homes tumbled into the ocean last week, neighbors and Dare County commissioners are grappling with the reality that's forever changed their coastal neighborhood. The massive cleanup effort involves everyone from the Cape Hatteras National Seashore Team to local homeowners, private contractors, and county crews.
I can't thank Superintendent Halleck enough for him and his staff for the cleanup that's been done already just in Buxton and Rodanthe. In Buxton alone, they loaded 140 truckloads of debris that was removed from the beach.
Walking through the neighborhood on Tuesday, the scope of this cleanup became crystal clear. While documenting the community's response, I had the chance to meet Congressman Greg Murphy, who made the trip down to see firsthand what folks here are dealing with.
This is an environmental disaster, and I would urge people whose homes are in the brink, in the water, to have them taken down before they have a disaster.
Murphy, who's pushed for legislation for threatened oceanfront properties before, believes this neighborhood struggle could help drive meaningful change for coastal communities everywhere.
I actually spoke with the chairman of the committee that goes to try to get people to access the NFIP funds before the house falls in the water to be able to pull them down. And I think we're going to get good traction, especially after this disaster here.
There is hope on the horizon. Dare County has beach nourishment and jetty repair projects planned for 2026. But right now, with more weather headed this way later this week, neighbors are holding their breath and supporting each other through the uncertainty.
The weather forecast this weekend is absolutely horrible. And there's a storm after that. I don't even know what to think.
We just have to hold our breath and keep our fingers crossed.
In Buxton, Will Thomas, WTKR News 3.
Yeah, a lot of people ask why they let them build there. Well, they weren't on the water in 2018.
Right.
In 2002, they moved the Hatteras Lighthouse, which is right there near Buxton, way back, over a mile back away from the water, because there were already issues there. So these houses have eroded in front of them throughout the last couple of days. All right, let's take a look at the drier air coming in as we go through the weekend. Look at this. This is Saturday morning.
Yeah.
Look at the brown there. That is cutting off the rain chances. That is bringing in lower humidity as well.
Yes.
That is Monday. Look, Saturday, Sunday. This is Monday, Tuesday. Yeah, a little bit more moisture, but don't worry about it. Look at Wednesday and even into Thursday. Guys, this is a pattern changer. We'll go over the details real quick here. We'll take this quick break, and then we'll get down into the details for the Tampa Bay area.
I was driving when an 18-wheeler turned in front of me. I locked up my brakes. Bam, slid dead into the truck. Bloody and hurt, I was loaded into an ambulance, and that's when I put out my phone and called attorney Dan Newton. Dan jumped right on it. He was in my corner the whole way. He fought the fight from beginning to end and got me $1 million.
Involved in a car accident? Call me now at 813-888-8000.
Dan, your awesome team deserves 6 stars. Thank you for winning my case.
Weather impacts your life every day. I'm 10 Tampa Bay Chief Meteorologist Bobby Deskins. You can find out about any change in the weather with our 10 Tampa Bay Plus app. Just stream for the latest forecast, any weather impact alert, updated tropics forecast, and take a live look at the radar. Anytime you want, and it's free. It's just one more way we're helping you stay informed, prepared, and connected. Stream 10 Tampa Bay Plus.
And it's like a movie script. It's family rivalry, betrayal, and murder.
They cover America's most fascinating true crime stories.
One way or another, that's an execution.
Absolutely.
Every case.
Who would want to hurt him?
Every clue.
This is dynamite for an investigator.
Every mystery that keeps you guessing until the very end.
Does everyone's jaws drop?
Dateline, 5 times a week.
Watch weekdays at 4 on 10 Tampa Bay.
Windows are created and installed with different levels of quality. You need quality that can withstand the tropical climate. Our installers only install PGT custom windows and doors, so we are the go-to experts. Don't take my word for it. We have been named Best of Tampa Bay 3 years in a row, Reader's Choice in Sarasota 3 years in a row, and nationally recognized as Window and Door Dealer of the Year. Price is what you pay, but value is what you get. Give WeatherTight Windows a call today, and don't forget the cookies.
All right. Let's talk dew points. Let's talk that drier
I'm excited
air
about this
coming
one.
in.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So take a look at the numbers. These are the dew points. It's basically the humidity out there, right? And you'll see it dropping Thursday, Friday, a little bit on Friday. You'll notice a change by Friday afternoon, a little bit. But it's Friday night and Saturday that the bulk of this really starts to get changed. And then, I mean, we're talking lower 60s for dew points. And these are in Tampa. And I actually think we're going to see some spots even drier than that. So much needed break in the humidity will feel very, very nice. That means high temperatures will come down as well. Now the average high is 87 degrees. What was that? And then we've got mid 80s for high temperatures over the weekend.
That would really be nice. Now this is a little taste of fall for Florida standards. You know, anybody that's from up north, they're probably like, you guys are crazy. But yeah, when we have that drop in moisture and humidity, I mean, it's really going to feel great. Rain chances go way down. If you're trying to look for a weekend to do anything, this is the weekend for it. I mean,
look at that. Those are the temperatures for highs. These are the lows, which is really going to feel good in the mornings. Plus, we do keep a little bit of a breeze. In fact, I think Friday is actually pretty breezy.
Yeah.
Winds in the 20s, and then we'll go 10 to 20 on Saturday and Sunday. But man, the morning hours, waking up, that's for Tampa, and that's one of the warm spots. Okay, away from the water and further north, we're talking upper 50s to low 60s, especially by Monday morning and Tuesday morning. All right, most areas will be in the lower 60s. It is going to feel incredible. Rain chances. A few showers around tomorrow, but Colleen, it is drying out towards the weekend. We kind of, I mean, we could put 10% on Saturday, but I don't think we're going to see much rain.
Yeah.
It's just,
maybe, you know, just a little extra moisture that may be left over could squeeze something out. But I think overall the weekend's just going to be fantastic to get outside.
Yeah, it is going to be nice. Plus, it's going to be great football weather, at least great Tampa football weather. I mean, still warm. I mean, we'll be in the low 80s for highs. But by the time the game gets going around 425, we should be about 82, 83 degrees. I mean, that's comfortable. Low humidity, much more comfortable.